actual breaking news today involves the federal budget and all the secrets buried within the fine print. It is nothing short of a victory for creative accounting. Treasurer Jim Chalmers has cut down the money tree, thrown it in the wood chipper, turned it into pulp, and then used it to print and bind the pages of his kinda capitalism utopia. At the top of the agenda, Labor has addressed the soaring cost of power bills.
Labor's Powering Australia plan is fully costed
and targeted at the hip pocket, promising to cut electricity bills by $275 a year by 2025 and $378 by 2030, and create 600,000 jobs, 500,000 in the regions.
The world's climate emergency is Australia's jobs opportunity.
Sorry, that was my mistake. That's from 2 years ago when the Prime Minister swore blind that a Labor government would cut energy bills by $275 per year by 2025. Since then, energy bills have effectively doubled. But don't worry, this was addressed in yesterday's budget.
Hi, I wanted to talk to you about one of the major announcements we have in tonight's budget, and that's from July 1. Every household will get $300 off their energy bills. That's all households, not just some. Just like every taxpayer will receive a tax cut from July 1.
Indeed, instead of addressing the root cause of soaring energy prices, that is the government's obsession with splurging untold billions on wind, solar, battery and transmission lines, Albanese has decided to take money off you and then give it back to you as a one-off gift of $300. A gift paid for by you. A gift that moonlights as a bribe. A gift that's about as useful as throwing a starving prisoner a single Mars bar and then expecting them to be alive 2 years later. A gift that will almost certainly give the Reserve Bank an excuse to raise interest rates. You'll be able to afford your power bill today, but not your mortgage tomorrow. Treasurer Jim Chalmers said that his gift will cost us $3.5 billion, and then he pinky promised it wouldn't add to inflation. About the only good news is that there will be some tax cuts. It's not much, but it's something, so I'll give Labor, half a point for this? Renewable energy, that expensive, unreliable, environment-destroying nightmare that is leaving scars across the Western world, is thrilled with the budget.
This is a red-letter day for the renewables industry. This budget changes Australia's future. This is nation building. It's monumental. Billions of dollars for critical minerals, innovation and support. These are the things that build the wind turbines, the solar panels, the batteries of the future. Billions of dollars for clean hydrogen, the big mega renewable projects that will power Australia's future and export it to the world.
I know he's excited, but Australians hear that. They hear about billions of their money going to wealthy renewable energy companies and they shake their heads in despair. It means their power bills are going up. It means their farms are going to become freeways for ugly power lines. It means their beach views will become a front row seat to forests of machetes. It means our rainforests will be felled and replaced with steel and concrete. Oh yes, the budget is definitely building something, building a new dark ages soon to be languishing in landfill.
So much in here that a Labor government has to be proud of. There's cost of living relief in here, there's... Look at him, he's done such a good job!
That's Tanya Plibersek, who last month declared war on fast fashion, which will add green taxes to cheap clothes, either sending fashion houses out of business or forcing up the price of clothing so that the poorest people in Australia can be extra miserable during this cost of living crisis. Where did she get the idea for seamless from? Well, the World Economic Forum and United Nations sustainability goals. Labor aren't just taking the clothes off your back in this budget, they are taxing the clothes before they rip them off your back. Australia is one of the highest tax nations not only in the world, but in human history. We should be walking on gold-plated roads with the wealth that we generate. So where is it all going? Aside from the $20 billion headed toward cheap energy, the budget forecasts $218 billion of it will be funneled into the NDIS over the next 4 years. The NDIS is the white elephant sitting on the throat of the Treasury. Bill Shorten, the man currently responsible for this treasure chest of fraud, waste and excessive costs, had this to say, and I quote, For much of its 10 years, the NDIS was left to grow in a rapid, haphazard way with unchecked fraud and inadequate regulation and safeguarding, end quote. This budget makes it clear that the situation is only going to get worse. Meanwhile, Australians in every single state struggle to find an ambulance or receive basic healthcare from states, Labor states, that refuse to build hospitals. We will have more on the budget on Friday's show. After all, the dust has settled and economists have had time to pick apart the fine print, and there is a lot of that. But it's not only the economy that's in bad shape. The moral compass of the West has been knocked off kilter, and nowhere is this more obvious than state-sponsored entertainment. The BBC's Doctor Who is no longer the canary in the woke mine. It's much worse than that. Remember, this is a show aimed at children.
Henry, get away from him.
Them.
What?
Me.
What?
I'm them.
You're who?
You're who? Nice to see you again, kiddo.
You know each other.
That's my daddy.
Now I know how the Spanish felt when they wandered into their first Incan city and saw human sacrifices tumbling down the steps. It's a bit of a culture shock. Shows like this give us a measuring stick for where woke is headed. Branded unwatchable, Doctor Who is experiencing its worst ever ratings, which is no surprise given we are seeing headlines like this. Quote, "Sorry, straight white men, Doctor Who was never made for you," end quote. Can you imagine if a major news publication ran the headline, "Sorry gay black women, faulty towels was never made for you"? I mean, it's not very inclusive, is it? Now, I'm going to leave this headline on the screen without comment, just to give you another example of the conversation surrounding Doctor Who.